how do you and I actually rest? Usually, there's two modalities that tend to dominate a lot of our lives. And those two things are productivity and procrastination, or doing and not doing what we should be doing. But if those are the only two modalities, then that's not really a life worth living. And God actually commands us to rest. He wants us to rest. So I'm just going to propose three R words to help us understand a little bit of what rest is and what it involves. So those three things are: the first, rest should be restorative. Second, rest demands resistance. And third, rest should have a rhythm to it. So the first, rest should be restorative. This is the main difference between real or authentic rest and just laziness or procrastination. You'll notice that, like with laziness or procrastination, it ends us with feeling kind of empty, often irritable. Why? Because usually we need to do certain things that we're not doing, that we're trying to escape from. And so at the end of it, it leaves us kind of vacuous and irritable. But real or authentic rest will actually be the opposite of that. It'll be life-giving. It'll fill us. We'll have more of a sense of peace, tranquility, order. We'll actually have more energy to actually do the things we need to do. So how to understand real rest? Well, it's going to have a restorative element to it. This is the main, think about the difference between walking around a lake on a beautiful day, just taking a walk, versus taking an hour just mindlessly scrolling through your phone and snacking. One is going to tend to drain you, and one is going to tend to fill you. And so again, real rest will have a restorative element to it. A friend of mine once asked me, at the end of your day off or intentional period of recreation, do you feel that your soul is more gathered or scattered? A great distinguishing mark between real rest and just laziness or giving into busyness. Is my soul more gathered, or is it more scattered? Is it more unified or divided? So real rest will have that restorative element. Second element of rest. Rest demands resistance. Resistance to what? Resistance to, among other things, stimulation or constant stimuli. In fact, a really good acronym for rest is restricted environmental stimulation time. So think about it. It's actually really hard to rest if we're actually not doing some real work to rest well. If we're constantly giving our time and attention over to the very stimuli that are happening, well, it just tends to divide us. And so ironically, rest will demand that we're actually resisting those various stimuluses. So this is actually the case when we start to plan out rest into our week. It makes us work a little bit to actually plan out, okay, when am I actually going to rest? So if we're going to rest well, it's going to demand that you, ironically, do a little work at resisting the very stimuli that can get in the way of resting and resting well. Third element to rest. Rest entails a certain rhythm. So just as we breathe in and breathe out, and we breathe in and we breathe out, there's a certain rhythm to it. What would happen if we only did it in a haphazard way? It wouldn't go very well. So why is the same not the case with rest? Because every week has 7 periods of 24-hour periods, and there's a Sunday in every week. And that's meant to have a certain rhythm to our lives. It's supposed to mark our lives. So this is the case where in order to rest well, we should actually have a rhythm of real rest in any given 24-hour period, if we can. But certainly a period of intentional rest on any 7-day period, and that should be Sunday ultimately. So in any given week or any given day, we should have a real rhythm to our rest, a real ebb and flow, intentional time set aside where we're putting away the environmental stimulation, where we're actually working hard to rest well, and that we actually are doing this on a repeatable, habitual pattern in our life. Hopefully these 3 R's can help you and I live more in the peace of Christ and the power that God wants us to live in, which is resting well. God bless you.